Hey y'all, it's Chawanna Stevens with the Well Network, and this is the Lifin' Podcast, because you know life be lifin'. Hey y'all.
Hey y'all, it's Chawanna Stevens with the Lifin' Podcast.
Hey y'all.
So my mom definitely, she definitely prepared me for her death. It was kind of in between her sickness, she was trying to make sure that she used her time wisely. So if there's anything that I learned from my mom really early on, it was make best use of your time. Do everything that you can. Don't take anything for granted as it relates to time. So she totally, in the midst of her sickness, she tried to make sure that I would remember her. She totally tried to make sure that I knew what to do when she left here. I remember my 35th birthday, actually being grateful that I made it to 35, but I also remember my 36th birthday because it was like, okay, I made it through year 35. My mom passed at 35. So I actually was a little angry, a little bit, while I was going through my childhood because I felt like I had to actually grow up really fast. So what my friends were doing or what I saw my peers, or the way I saw my peers living, that wasn't a luxury that I had. I had to actually be a grown up. So I remember as a child having to learn how to balance a checkbook or learn how to cook a meal or making sure that I understood how to handle and juggle keeping a household running smoothly, maintaining my homework, and trying to make sure that I made having to make sure that my dad was taken care of and my brother was taken care of. And that's actually something that my mom wanted to do. She wanted to make sure that she had her daughter first, so that if something was to happen to her, then the daughter would kind of maintain the household until my dad found a wife. And so in her mind, my brother was going to be okay because I was the oldest. But I actually remember the day that she died. That night, I could hear her yelling out my name. And so she was actually trying to transition, but she would kind of like come into consciousness and call out my name. And that sound, her voice, I'll never forget that sound. And so a lot of people ask me about my ministry. And, one thing that I always do when I preach, I always cry at the end. And one of the reasons I cry at the end is because at the end or through the sermon, as I'm talking, I can hear my mom's voice. We sound so much alike. And so that's actually a pain point in my preaching. But it actually is one of the moments or the times that I feel most connected to my mom, even though she's not here. So as a minister of the gospel, I think that passion is there because I'm feeling that in the moment. But then I'm also reminded of how I could not do this if it wasn't for her. I couldn't be the preacher that I am. I couldn't be the preacher that I am. I couldn't be the teacher that I am if it wasn't for her. Her going to seminary classes and all that kind of stuff and making sure I was there. So even though she wasn't going to be here and she kind of knew she was dying, but she was doing it for a purpose. And a lot of it had to do with her knowing that there was something in me that I didn't understand at the time. I think one of the greatest, another huge lesson that I learned was that you just can't stay in your emotions. You got to keep going. I heard my mom preach her last sermon in a wheelchair, and the power of God was so strong. And so I think from all of that, her saying, hey, I don't want to take the medicine anymore. I want to be awake. If I'm about to die, I want my kids to know me. I think all of that plays into who I am because that's what I saw. I was able to see her push past how she felt in the moment, how to push past what she was feeling in the moment. And I think all of that makes me who I am. And so when we fast forward to even me as a businesswoman, A lot of times, you know, when you are an African American business owner and you do it on the level that I have done, not tooting my own horn, but, you know, when you have done it the way that I've done it, a lot of times you're not going to be treated fairly. You know, a lot of times, especially when you're young, people tend to handle you differently. But you do have to be able to press past how you feel and make sure that you make a mark in your industry. And that's one of the things that I think I kind of try to hold fast to, and stay solid on, is knowing that, you know, no matter how things may be going, I still have to make sure that I maintain who I am no matter what. I remember a time where I was bullied in school, and my mom actually, she made me, and I tell this story in my sermons a lot of times, but I would come home from school every day and I would say, Mom, you know, this girl is bothering me. I was the type of person that I didn't necessarily try to defend myself, and that's who I am. I'm not really a person that's gonna always try to defend myself. I'll keep quiet a lot of times. But Mom was trying to teach me a lesson about prayer, and so every day when I would come home, she would actually say, okay, well, what are you gonna do about it? This girl is bullying you, but what are you gonna do about it? I think I learned that lesson about prayer, because I prayed and I prayed and I prayed every day. My mom would sit in the wheelchair and let me stand next to her or kneel next to her and pray. And eventually, this girl that was bullying me actually moved away. But it was the power of prayer that she was trying to teach me. And I think that translates into who I am as well, because it ain't but so far I'm going to go. You know, it's only but so far that I'm going to go, if that makes sense, because I understand the power of prayer. So when you talk about my personality and all the characteristics that make me who I am, I'm funny, but I'm serious because of my childhood, if that makes sense. I love to laugh, but there is also a serious side of me as well. I try to do everything that I can with excellence, and I try to do everything that I can with, I guess, all of my heart and passion. Why? Because, you know, if life has taught me anything, it's that, you know, we only get a short amount of time, and we have to do everything we can within that time. Man, what else can I say about myself? I've heard that I'm stuck up. But I am so not that. I am socially awkward. I am very shy. And most of the time when people hear me say that, they think I'm lying. But it is so true. I am absolutely very shy. I am socially awkward because, you know, believe it or not, I was always by myself. Even though I had friends, but because I had so much bigger fish to fry, I had, you know, real problems as a kid. Like, I really didn't have time to, you know, play with other kids and that kind of thing. So I can be socially awkward. I am a little delayed. I am a little ditzy. Those are all things about me, but I do a lot. I juggle a lot. As a mom, I think the lesson that I want to permeate throughout my child's life is that you can do anything. I remember as a first time mom, I was trying to build a business. You know, that was the pinnacle of my business, was when I was pregnant with my daughter. And throughout that time, I think I developed my biggest regret, and I think that would be, I didn't live in the moment with my daughter Ava. I took care of her. I did all of the things that I should have done as a mom, but I also was trying to juggle the height of my business. I didn't want to slow down in momentum, and so it was really difficult, you know. But the thing that I want Ava to know is that anything that you put your mind to, you can do. There's a picture in the very first photo shoot that I ever did, and that picture, it's a picture of Ava sitting down in the middle of my photo shoot, and she's sick as all get out. But she is maintaining. You know what I mean? Like she's good, but still a little sick. So she's playing on her iPad and all that kind of stuff. But at the end, she's like, "Wow, mommy, you're beautiful." And I think I love that picture because it was an example of how, I'm gonna take care of Ava, but I'm gonna get the work done. But if I could say one regret that I have as a mother, especially with mommy guilt, it's not living in the moment. I was doing payroll an hour after I had Ava. I pushed her out and actually did payroll. So that's that might be one of the biggest regrets, not living in the moment. But also it is a testimony to, how sometimes you just have to push to do what it is that you really want to do. So that's that. As a wife, I think me and my husband work because he understands who I am, and I think that's a beautiful thing. You can't be in relationship with someone that doesn't get you. You want people around you that really understand you. So, like if I have an idea, I can bounce those ideas off of him. I am a visionary. I love to see something. I love to get a vision and see it through. But I love our relationship because my mind is on go at any moment, or every moment I'm on go. But he is the practical side of me. And so it works, he allows me to do wifing the way that I can, you know what I mean? And we vowed that we wouldn't change each other in our marriage. And so I think that as a wife, I try to go hard, even in that, the same way that I do in business. So who am I? I am a Christian entrepreneur that strives really hard to try to balance the two. I am a wife, a mother, a mentor, and a servant of the Lord. And I think, just balancing it all is really the journey that I'm on. Is just trying to balance it all. So that's who I am.